he did earn that starting spot coming out of camp last year. He's got really good ball skills in 50-50 situations. The Raiders absolutely need to nail this evaluation.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
The RP users and myself just kind of sort of bullied you into this.
Yeah, you bullied me into this one.
Talk about your process though, because it is different than what you normally do.
Yeah, my own intrigue also kind of got me in on like doing this Bryan Edwards thing because, you know, I love John Brown and like John Brown is one of my longtime reception perception favorites. And then the fact that Bryan Edwards was getting all this camp hype and it seems to be such a reality, obviously, that Brown was basically deemed expendable. He asked for his release and still waiting to find out where he might land or whatever. But so that alone also like, and I like Bryan Edwards coming out of college too, like he has a lot of good indicators in his college profile in terms of like his breakout age and everything like that. So there was something to explore here. Typically with reception perception, I'm going to want a lot more snaps and routes to go off of than what we've got with Bryan Edwards, you know?
Right.
So that is why I basically am like, I'm not going to put him in the sortable tables. I'm not going to, you know, have it influence historical percentiles. Cause I mean, there are legitimately games in this sample where he played like 19 games, like 19 snaps, you know, like, so that's snaps. Really not a lot to go on. I came away from this. Number one, I kind of forgot that Bryan Edwards, like we're all sort of sitting here surprised that he's the starting X receiver for this team. Like, you know, people like me are surprised that he pushed Brown off the roster completely, but the Raiders wanted him to be their starting X receiver last year. He ran out as the starter in the first 3 games of the season before he sprained an ankle against the Patriots about 24 snaps into that game, about halfway through or whatever. And, you know, it's not as if he had been super, super productive in those first couple of games, but he did earn that starting spot coming out of camp last year. They clearly wanted that guy out there. And, you know, the fact that he just lost the role to Nelson Aguilar, who was playing well, when you look at his like route percentage chart, obviously leans pretty vertical, you know, leans toward the intermediate deep stuff. He's not a burner as referenced by like the 35% success rate on 9 routes. He's not going to get open just straight running down the field, but he is a big physical guy. I think I wrote it in the profile. Bryan Edwards is like a hoss, dude. He's a big dude. Contested catch situations. He was only in 4 contested catch situations in this snapshot sample, but he hauled in 3 of them. I think he's got really good ball skills in 50-50 situations. And he was in 6 attempts in space, you know, when he's out there in the open field with the ability to break a tackle. He broke 1 tackle on 2 of 6. Multiple tackles on 2 of 6. So like he was making things happen after the catch too. His percentile scores, again, these are very limited. I want to keep saying that, but 52nd percentile against man coverage, 50th against zone, 55th against press. And, you know, that just basically shows he was like a league average starter last year in terms of separation as a rookie while also coming back off the injury. And I don't know, I came away from this very encouraged, and we could talk kind of more about where I think he fits and past examples in a bit as well.
I look at some of the numbers, you know, average separator against man, zone, and press, which is not that encouraging, but, you know, again, big-bodied wide receiver. Actually, Lance Zierlein, the great evaluator there for NFL.com, compared him to like a David Terrell, which I think is a really, really good comp. Right, but so for me, it's just kind of like, okay, and tell me if I'm wrong here. Do those numbers indicate to you, and again, given his kind of size and contested catch ability, a lot of that reads like kind of like Devontae Parker to me.
Devontae Parker would make sense for sure. And again, that's sort of the prototypical non-elite X receiver, right? Like that he's going to win on 50-50 balls. The player I actually compared it to was Michael Crabtree and not in like a player to player comparison, but in the role that I think they're envisioning for this team. And like Crabtree was a guy that Derek Carr relied on so heavily early on in his NFL career because he was ultra reliable he was like a great zone beater. He was great in contested situations. I actually put some of this in his profile, in Bryan Edwards' profile. And again, it's hard to say because the sample is so limited here, but I think that we should not be about like, oh yeah, Bryan Edwards, absolutely, like slam dunk, anything like that. But I definitely like taking him late in redraft leagues. And like, I think I'm excited to see how this plays out because the Raiders absolutely need to nail this evaluation. Like their draft track record is horrible. Everything like that. They really need this pick to kind of work out.
Bro, you know what the Raiders need to do? They just need to go on auto draft. Like that's what they need to do.
Well, hopefully for them, Bryan Edwards is a solid fella and also a solid starting X receiver, which based on his reception perception and like some of the route success rates, like the post route success rate really high, and he ran that a lot. Dig route success rate really high, he ran that a lot. Comebacks as well. Again, I think he's gonna be like their best chunk play receiver. Obviously, Henry Ruggs theoretically should be their speed guy, their deep threat, all that stuff. But in terms of like the more prototypical like 10 to 15 yard receiver, I think Bryan Edwards can do that. And again, I just came away really impressed with what a physical specimen he was out there on like open field attempts, in contested situations. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about Bryan Edwards. I'm excited to see, like, I think there's a 0% chance that he is the best receiver on this team. It wouldn't surprise me if Edwards just becomes the more reliable of the two players. And that's why in my rankings right now, like I have them in the exact same tier and only like a 2-spot difference. Like, yeah, Ruggs is probably the odds on favorite to be the best receiver on the team. I am not at all like just giving up on Henry Ruggs or anything like that. But at this point, I do think these two guys should be kind of viewed like pretty neck and neck.